If you've lived on planet Earth for the past few months, you've probably heard of Among Us. You may have also seen various people recreate the game in real life, but their renditions are always missing crucial game elements. Now, a high school student with almost no development experience is attempting to one-up them using technology. This is real-life Among Us, but it's completely decked out with tech and stuff. Alright, so I've been in the mountains for the past week or so getting some great skiing in, and it's gone pretty well. I also spent my free time learning React from an Indian guy on YouTube, and it went pretty well, so I started work on the client. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I've done so far. Hey, look at this! I'm back to my old method of recording videos on my laptop using QuickTime Player. If we go to localhost 3000 here, we can see that I've got a very basic login form with just the URL to try to make a connection to and a player name. So if I go ahead and type my name here and hit submit, we can see that now we have just my name as a dot right here, which doesn't look like much, but if we go and look at the server over here, down here is the actual output from the server, we can see that we have a connected player. So if I go ahead and open a new tab, and I don't know, I'll put my old name in, we can see that now we have both players. We have Igrium and we have Sam54123. But if in a third tab now I try to use Igrium again, it doesn't do anything. And if we look at the server, we can see why that's happening. It's disconnecting the client because it is unhappy with the fact that I'm trying to connect with the name Igrium, which, as we can see, is already connected to the server. So this is actually mostly controlled by the code that I wrote back in episode 2 to deal with player connections. But we didn't have a client to test it on, or the one we did was very buggy. So now that I actually know React a little bit better, I have created a very basic client. And it's not much, but what it shows is that my server code works. And it's a lot that we actually have the client underway now. So anyway, I might get back to work on it, and I don't know if my next video log will be at home on my good computer, or still out here on my shitty laptop. But I will see you then. Yay for the noise of a small 4-person condo. So, I went ahead and I wrote an additional feature, which is player colors, which I thought would be really hard, but it was actually really fun to implement. But now I gotta get on to the actual game logic. And I'm not quite sure exactly where to start on this, because the tutorial series that I watched talked a lot about how you make your UI, but it didn't really talk about, like, where you should put all your other logic. So I'm contemplating, do I just shove all my game code into the window component? Obviously for the game itself, there's 3 different components right now. There's the login screen, the waiting room screen, and the game screen. And then the game screen will contain everything that happens in the game, so like the sabotage menu and the voting screen, all that type of jazz. But I don't know whether I want to put all my logic for the game stuff in that component or break it out into its own class. Because the class wouldn't be able to retroactively control the component, I don't think. Maybe I'll just do like a utility function class? Oh, I'll figure it out. Alright, so I'm back home and back at my computer, which is nice. I actually did a lot of work in between now and the last video log. And I actually technically recorded a video log in between these 2 video logs, but given that my laptop is a crappy MacBook Pro from 2011, the recording got corrupted. So now I'm here catching you up to speed on everything that I've done since that last recording a few days ago. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've gone ahead and loaded up the website on both my laptop and on my phone, so we can see how this is going to work across multiple computers. And let's go ahead and give this a go. So, as we saw before, here on the laptop, I'm going to go ahead and type in a username. Let's go with Igrium here. And we can see I'll show up. But now, there's actually a color picker. and I can choose a color. So let's say I'll go green. So now on my phone, let's also choose a name. I'll go Sam54123 on the phone. Submit that. We can see the green of Igrium here, and I can go ahead and let's say I'll make Sam54123 orange, and it's shown up back on the computer again as well. So let me go ahead and also join with a test account so we can just get a third player in. And now we can click Start Game. As we can see, it's bolded the test account because the test account is chosen as the imposter. And we can see we've got our tasks. So we've got Task 1 and Task 2. Those are the only two tasks that are currently set up in the map file. And Task 1 is set up to require a confirmation scan, meaning that the player has to rescan the QR code once they're finished with the task to make sure that they didn't just run off while doing it. And Task 2 is set to not require a confirmation scan, which is useful for tasks that are literally just like one button. There's not going to be time to run off during the task anyway. So let's go ahead and on the computer, I'm going to hit Scan Task. I don't have the QR code implemented yet. The QR code scanner implemented yet, so it just asks me to type in what the QR code would say. This is very temporary interfacing, by the way. And now we've got a very temporary task window. This is just a basic task. It's the sort of the demonstration task that isn't actually a task, but just demonstrates the usefulness of the task system. So all you have to do in the basic task is hit the complete button. So I'll go ahead and complete. Now it asks me to scan the QR code again. So let's just say I type in something that's wrong. So this is currently task 1 right now, but I'll type in blah. It doesn't do anything because that was the wrong thing. But if I go ahead and do task 1 again, and this time I actually scan the right QR code, we can see that task 1 becomes green, and our task completion value goes up to 25%. Obviously, this will be rendered as an actual taskbar in the final thing. It's 25% right now because there's 2 non-imposters, and each person has 2 tasks. So let's go onto my phone now. We can see that it says 25%, but we don't see that any of the tasks are green because we haven't actually completed any tasks on my phone right now. So I'll go ahead and hit Scan Task, and let's go ahead and do Task 2 on my phone. And we get the task window as before, so I'll go ahead and hit Complete. And now we can see that Task 2 is green on my phone, and task completion has gone up to 50% on both clients. So now I'll go ahead and complete both tasks. So we'll say task 2 here, complete that, we're up to 75%. And on the phone, I'll go ahead and scan task. It will be task 1. Complete that, and then I gotta verify. And now our task completion's up to 100%. Note that if I go ahead and switch to the imposter screen right now, we see our tasks, and if I hit scan task, we can enter the QR code, and it gives us the task window, and then we can hit complete and verify, but nothing actually happens when we verify. And this is to reduce the risk of getting caught when you're faking a task. Because in regular Among Us, you can just stand in front of a task for the right amount of time. The other players can't see if you're actually doing it or not unless it's an animated task. In this game, when you're presumably holding your phone out to scan the QR code and potentially doing the task, there is a good risk that other players will accidentally oversee your screen, even though it's against the rules. And if you're just standing there looking at your phone but not actually doing anything, it's obvious you're faking a task. So the imposters get the ability to pretend to do the tasks, essentially, although it doesn't actually increase the taskbar. Alright, so I've gone ahead and broken out the task screen and the scan screen into a pop-out, like it will be in the final thing, and not just awkwardly appending it to the bottom of the DOM. And UI-wise, I don't think there's a whole lot much left to do. There's not actually a whole lot that appears graphical interface-wise in the game as you're actually moving around. And in our rendition of the game,
your eyes will mostly be set off your phone as you're watching other people and moving around the area. The major thing I still have left to do is the animations that show at various points, like when it displays the screen that says if your crewmate or imposter, and if your imposter telling you who the other imposter is. And I'm not quite so sure how I want to do that, because the way React works, or at least to my knowledge, is that you have like a state, right, of each component, and then the state combined with the props that get passed that component when it's created can determine what is displayed when it's rendered, and you only re-render when the state changes. Now, for an animation, I need to actually have an event fire when we want to start the animation. We can't just randomly change the state to show the image, because we have to have that sound. So, yeah, I have to figure out what I'm going to do for that. Alright, so upon further investigation, I have realized that implementing the imposter or not imposter screen at the beginning of the game is going to be a lot harder than I thought, simply because of how I've implemented the start game event. So I'm going to leave that for the future. But for now, I actually have an announcement. This project has been pretty much a solo project for too long. Although it technically started with me and Ezra back at the beginning, I'm still the only one who has actually made any commits to the repo. And I want to change that. So if you think that you have TypeScript or React skills, or both, I invite you to join the Discord server that I have linked below, and to try to make one of the tasks. If it's good enough, it might end up in the official build, or it probably will end up, because I probably will not get that many submissions. I really want this to become more of a community event, because there is a small community that has grown up around this project, yet I'm still the only one who's actually coding. So let's change that. So go ahead and join the Discord server, and I will see you there.